outcome of any match. In purely skill-based 1v1 games like chess or Super Smash Bros, you will beat weaker opponents pretty much every single time, since it is only you and them. And this is truly at the core of why playing AD carries can sometimes feel very unrewarding. When all your moves have to be reactive rather than proactive, the game feels much more out of your control. Tristana, however, while still being an AD carry and a good team fighter, is first and foremost a great duelist. She is an outstanding 1v1 champion and has all the tools and abilities to let you capitalize on your opponent's lack of skill. If you feel hard stuck, if you feel like you don't belong in the elo bracket in which you are currently placed, Tristana is the best champion for you to change that. The reason for this is, of course, her enormous burst damage in combination with her long-range engage. With most other marksmen, you have to hope your support takes notice when the enemy is out of position. In an ideal world, they run at them to lock them down with their crowd control so you can follow up and kill them. When your support doesn't notice the enemy's mistake, or simply messes up their combo, then you are just out of luck. With Tristana, on the other hand, it is you who is making that call. You jump in, full combo them with your E-spell, and then safely jump out again after scoring that kill. To show you exactly how this plays out in practice, let's have a look at this ranked game here.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
I just need a point in the right direction.
Alright, let's go.
30 seconds until you spawn.
My name is Pauline and we own Fast Fix Garage Door in McKinney. We like the quality of the product. They're always really nice looking for me.
Okay, let's focus on this game.
Where's the action? Winners don't duck. Easy peasy. Let's get this party started. Last one is on the tree. 10. Woo!
An ally has been slain.
Going in. Get in my way. I do. Hold it up.
Okay.
Vandal Gunner never turns in. Unless it's demonic. I like this one. Weapons tall.
You have slain an enemy.
Okay.
Falling back. Orders are more like guidelines, really.
You have slain an enemy.
Cannon fodder.
You have slain an enemy. An ally has been slain.
I'm okay with it. Suppose I'm just okay with it.
Let me get in there. I can eyeball it. Watching our backs. Double time. point in the right direction. Sometimes outnumbered, never outgunned. Winners don't duck. Easy peasy. Let's get this party started.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Nothing a little gunpowder won't fix. On lookout.
Okay.
Boomer says hi.
An ally has been slain.
More where that came from. Get in my way. I did.
Enemy killing spree.
See the fireworks?
Your turret has been destroyed.
Can't wait to try this out. If it's worth shooting once, it's probably worth shooting a lot.
Turret plating will fall soon. Enemy rampage.
I got you covered.
Enemy double kill. Your team has destroyed a turret. Enemy triple kill.
Falling back.
An ally has been slain.
I dare you to dare me. A Vandal Gunner
Your turret has been destroyed.
Ooh, I like the look of this, baby. I might just drop in.
Should hit my thing.
An enemy has been slain.
It's okay. Do this, I guess.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Walking tall. Orders are more like guidelines.
Shut down.
Let me get in there.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Do you sell earplugs too? Who wears a helmet? You don't hurt him if you don't hit him. Bring on the bad guy. I just need a push in the right direction. Who wants some? You want some? Come on. Light 'em up.
Dude, man. What? Fight it! You freaking weak saucies.
destroyed a turret.
Sometimes outnumbered, never outnumbered. Easy peasy. Making things explode. This is it. Get in my way. Shooting a lot.
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. Enemy double kill. Your turret has been destroyed.
They done the wrong arm.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Let's get in there.
Call the fight, man. Should have called the fight. And I should have focused the freaking race, honestly.
turret has been destroyed. The Black Queen.
Turns tail, unless it's to taunt you.
That seems silly. That seems silly.
Perfect practice, precise result.
Let's see how I did on that, to be honest. To run.
An ally has been slain.
That's great.
Your turret has been destroyed. Defeat.
Here. I cannot know for sure, but I am assuming that this Tristana is in fact a Smurf, since her account is currently placed in Platinum 2, while most other people in this lobby are mid-diamond. And a quick reminder, if this player finds enough punishable mistakes to Smurf in a diamond lobby, then this will be even easier in lower elo brackets. The lane matchup is Blitzcrank Tristana versus Lux Caitlyn, so blue team needs to be very careful not to take too much poke damage. Red team, however, needs to be very careful not to take all-in fights, because they are both immobile and both very squishy. Caitlyn actually gets grabbed right away, and while most bot laners cannot really capitalize on a Blitzcrank hook level 1, Tristana is able to follow up with massive burst damage due to her attack speed from Hail of Blades. This short exchange gives Tristana and Blitzcrank lane priority for the moment, and Lux makes the grave mistake of not respecting that. The hook into Tristana's E with Hail of Blades is too much for her and she dies instantly. Yes, Blitzcrank did a good job there, but even if he didn't walk up, Tristana would have just taken one more minion to hit level 2 and done it herself. Now, just because Tristana can use her jump to engage herself, that doesn't mean she has to. It is still an extremely strong tool you can use to follow up on your allies' engages, essentially giving you the best of both worlds. Tristana is not merely a duelist, but still a good teamfighter. Here, the allied Nunu rolls in from the river, and Tristana uses her jump not simply to follow up, but also to proactively dodge any potential skill shots Lux might be throwing at her. This is a really good habit you should get into, especially since killing that Lux will reset your jump cooldown anyway. Just extra safety for you with zero drawbacks. And because you are so extremely safe in the early game while still having high damage, the rule of thumb is that you should always be looking to participate in early skirmishes as much as possible. Tristana's mid game is slightly on the weaker side, so you need to seize the opportunity to keep the snowball rolling. This fight near the river is a great example. First and foremost, you should never be afraid to just jump straight in when you know you will get a jump reset anyway. This is the position you want to be in, and you can then decide whether it is best to keep jumping deeper, or to jump out again, or to simply hold on to your jump just in case. The last option is generally speaking the safest, preventing you from making a heat of the moment mistake. But about the whole thing on being proactive. Click the subscribe button and look at this situation. Tristana notices that Lux is slightly too far away from her tower and stuck in the cast animation of her spells. She capitalizes on that positioning mistake instantly and goes all in. Blitzcrank did nothing there, and even without Nunu, Lux was forced to burn her flash, so Tristana can't just finish her with ult. You see the enemy's mistakes, and Tristana allows you to properly punish these mistakes. Now your enemies are low health under tower and have to make a choice. Do they stay and risk getting dived, or do they forfeit the wave and retreat? Well... at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they based voluntarily or not, your response is the same. You make use of Tristana's great wave clear, get the minions under tower, and then recall. And the more items you've bought, the safer your enemy has to play. If they fail to realize this, make sure to let them know. When you have your R, you don't even need to connect your W. 3 Hail of Blades attacks in combination with ult are enough to get a second jump ready. Not even a Caitlyn with her net can escape from that. Yes, Tristana is quite fed now, but for most marksman champions this wouldn't change the way they play. You would still need to respect an opposing Jax, for example, since he can just outmaneuver you. Tristana is a different kind of beast though. You simply take your rocket jump and shove it down everyone's throat. It has a range of 900 units and you get multiple of these per fight. As long as you don't jump straight into a stun or into chain CC, your enemies will not be able to avoid you stat checking them. Their only play here would be to not position in such a greedy way, but this is the nasty thing about positioning mistakes. When you realize you've made one, it is already far too late to fix it. But yeah, enemy team dead, you take the closest objective, you know the drill. However, we are technically still in lane phase, mind you, so death timers are quite low. The enemy is still slightly too late to stop Dragon, and they simply get entangled in this now unnecessary fight over nothing. And these rocket jumps are just way too nasty. You get reset after reset from takedowns and from your E. Before the enemies know it, they are overextended again and Tristana shows zero mercy. And the room for error you have, not only with your jump, but also due to your items, is quite impressive as well. Despite getting caught by Lux Q, no one is able to take Tristana down. Even worse for the opponent, when you see fit, you can just re-enter the fight, no problem. In any case, when you finally take down that tower, lane phase ends and the mid-game can begin. Since all the outer towers have already been destroyed, Tristana follows her jungler into the bot lane again to make a play with Rift Herald. Getting more pressure in the bot lane sets blue team up for the next spawning dragon, since the lane will then be pushed out very far. And indeed, dragon is completely free for blue team as they were able to get full vision control in bot side after taking that tier 2 tower. You know, take the free stuff, win the game. From here, Tristana simply pushes the lane past river and then roams towards her team. This standard macro play gives you the most options and opportunities without compromising your farm. And opportunity does present herself when Caitlyn face checks the Chemtech zone in her jungle. These stealth areas are so brutal when you are losing because you have no way to re-establish vision control there ever, and the enemy can always trap you. Obvious mistake by Caitlyn though, which means an easy punish for Tristana. Now blue team can take their numbers advantage and use it to destroy the second mid lane tower before Caitlyn can respawn. Red team is clearly tilted since they are playing more and more carelessly when in reality they should be turtling to provoke blue team into a bad tower dive. This is obviously no longer a potential out for the losing team when they merely keep getting picked off one by one. At level 13, Tristana's attack range is already at 621, which is way above average, so sieging would actually be a viable strategy here. However, blue team decides to not take the risk and instead reset to convert their gold advantage into an even bigger item advantage. Oh, and could we take a moment to appreciate how Tristana's W is enough to force out the 90 seconds cooldown Gale Force active? Caitlyn simply can't catch a break. Now blue team are wisely using their advantage to pressure Baron, which is much less risky than diving an inhibitor tower. They are either getting Baron for free here, or forcing red team to walk away from the safety of their towers and into the choke points near the Baron pit. The chem tank zones are only making this worse for them, by the way. Once you have Baron in addition to your massive item advantage, cracking open the opponent's base is a piece of cake. So yeah, getting fed is nice, but it won't help you much if you spend your gold on bad items, or if you sabotage yourself by choosing incorrect runes. But don't worry, just copy the following setups and you will be fine.
The only thing more popular than me is wild natural deodorant. Cherry blossom. Oh, I wish I could sniff your pits all day. You totally can. Wild lasts for 24 hours.
Thus, with all of their different reusable cases, Wild matches all of our outfits. I did it.
Using natural ingredients like shea butter to moisturize and tapioca starch to absorb sweat, we gave a wild natural deodorant makeover to this nerd. She looks the same, but she smells amazing. Wow! 24 hours guaranteed of my favorite scent. I love my natural pitties!
Wild has a unique scent and case for every personality. Granola girls, sales bros, overachievers, boss's pet, personality hires, even goths love Wild.
Wild natural deodorant makes life almost worth living.
Aww.
Keep plastic out of your pits and the trash. Try Wild natural deodorant today.
May I?
Sure. Don't believe the gossip? Our smell book is filled with over 45,000 five-star reviewers that smell swell after switching to Wild.
This is genuinely life-changing, and I have already subscribed for my monthly refills. I suffer from excess perspiration, didn't have high hopes for deodorant, but wow, confidence now back.
Anyone can quit plastic pits, from indoorsy people to outdoorsy people.
I save the earth by wearing Wild sustainable deodorant and by barely showering.
You still have to shower.
Okay.
Doesn't matter your clique, Wild is for anyone's pits. Get yours today at wearewild.com.
Oh, you've been saying pits.
An ally has been slain.
Look, you're not actually going to get anything done by watching another YouTube video. In fact, you're literally only procrastinating more. What you need is something I like to call a GYST. That stands for Get Your Shit Together. Because, let's face it, you need to. Alright, so what does it actually look like to dedicate an entire week to just tackling everything that we've procrastinated in one fell swoop? It's finances, folding laundry, calling your mom back, personal projects, you name it. Life would be so much easier if we could just get everything done in the way good. Does all that sound overwhelming? Because it probably is. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be. Just schedule all of your tasks into a GYST. All I do is take like 8 minutes at the beginning of my week to brain dump my entire to-do list, and this tool automatically sorts it all out. It'll schedule my tasks, set reminders, and the best part is, if I miss a task, it'll automatically shift my to-do list so that I don't have to keep staring at what I missed. Basically, it's the only tool I've found that combines the best parts of a calendar and a to-do list and wraps them all into one using AI. If you're tired of feeling like life is a never-ending game of catch-up and you're tired of being stressed out over all of the little things that life throws at you, you need a GYST. Click the button below for the AI personal assistant that'll make this whole process less of a headache and way more fun. Trust me, your future self will thank you.
Can't wait to try this out.
For runes, you want Hail of Blades, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ravenous Hunter, with Triumph and Legend Bloodlines secondary. Your shards are Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and one of the Resistance shards corresponding to your lane opponent's primary damage type. Hail of Blades is by far the best keystone for Tristana, and it is not even close. You've already seen how crucial it is that you get your all-in combo off, and Hail of Blades makes it that much more consistent for you. To fully stack your E, you need to connect with 4 attacks and/or spells. This means that if you cast your E while jumping on top of them, your jump will already provide the first stack, and then the 3 autos from Hail of Blades are exactly enough to finish the combo. Without jump, you simply cast E, then use your Hail of Blades autos, and then cast your ult for your combo finisher. Anyway, no other keystone can give you that much value when playing Tristana. Taste of Blood is great for lane because with merely 525 range at level 1, you are quite vulnerable to poke champions. It triggers off of everything, so even if you just deal some chip damage to the enemy with your explosive shot passive, Taste of Blood will start healing you. Eyeball Collection is free attack damage, and since you build crit items and attack speed, getting more AD is obviously extremely important. Ravenous Hunter and Legend Bloodline are your sources of late game healing, so you don't have to buy any lifesteal with items if the matchup allows you to be more offensive. Now, I recommend trying for your last rune slot, since this rune perfectly synergizes with your jump resets and allows you to simply keep going after every takedown. The healing is super clutch in these situations, and even more so during the early game where you want to start snowballing. However, you could also go for cutdown instead if you would rather have some more damage in late game teamfights. I've even seen some people go with Presence of Mind to have guaranteed mana for additional jumps. It's up to you, really. As far as items are concerned, you always want to get Berserker's Greaves, Kraken Slayer and Phantom Dancer in this exact order. Kraken Slayer's damage is crazy and it will always trigger at least once in your Hail of Blades combo. Phantom Dancer complements that because it will stack up during your all-in, allowing for great kiting and high damage with Kraken Slayer, which is important should your target survive your initial burst damage. Also, these items grant you a lot of mid and late game teamfighting power even after your keystone is put on cooldown. At a certain point, there won't be any need for you to jump forward to deal huge damage, but instead you can use your massive range from your passive and kite everyone around with Phantom Dancer's movement speed. After your core build, you have several options. Kraken plus PD is more than enough damage generally speaking, so if you are getting threatened by fed assassins or mages, you can already start opting for more defensive items at this point. Bloodthirster, Guardian Angel, Scimitar or even Wit's End are great choices for this. In combination with your jump and your self-healing ultimate, these defensive tech options will keep you relevant regardless of how fed the opposing solo laners are. In all other cases though, feel free to buy the hyper-offensive items of Lord Dominic's Regards and Infinity Edge. The value of these items should be rather self-explanatory, especially when you take into consideration that your explosive shot damage directly scales with Critical Strike and Infinity Edge's passive. This scaling is also the reason why you should never ever buy Ginzo's Rageblade on Tristana. Rageblade completely removes your explosive shot's crit scaling, resulting in a weak item build. Now, one of the most reliable ways to improve your Tristana gameplay is to simply copy the playstyles from the best Tristana players in the world. So if you want to see how Tristana is played on a professional level, you can watch a full pro player analysis by clicking the link on your screen right there.
As an owner of Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I know how to make slick-looking goggle/glasses. But I have no idea how to make slick social media-styled stuff to sell it. But GoDaddy Aero uses AI not only to create social content out of thin air, it can build a whole social media calendar just for my business. So all I had to do was upload a video of me and my pretty face, and voila. Walton Goggins goggle glasses are great gifts for all guys and gals. Try saying that 10 times fast. Look like you know what you're doing at GoDaddy.com.
If it's worth shooting once, it's probably worth shooting a lot.
Welcome to paradise. Our Amex Platinum card got us here. Membership takes it next level. Sought-after tables, unforgettable experiences, late checkout, Platinum card membership for a trip that's iconic.
Hello fellow misfortunates! Most of you probably know that Lethality Xayah has been completely dominating solo queue a few patches ago. This ultimately caused her to get hotfix nerfed and the hype around Lethality Xayah started to die down. What many people fail to realize, however, is that Lethality Xayah is still an extremely strong pick today, and actually one of the most reliable champions if you want to play ranked and get some free wins. Obviously Xayah was completely broken pre-nerf, and it was definitely healthy for the game that Dryad toned down her Q spell. Back in the day when it had a base cooldown of nearly 4 seconds at rank 5, ability haste stacking was a little too effective on her, and she was basically pick or ban for every single solo queue lobby. A champion who is this highly contested in champ select is quite frankly not a reliable pick if you want to climb, because most of the time you won't even get to play them. Due to that, the nerfs which caused most people to abandon Xayah and look for the next flavor of the month were actually a godsend, because if you want to play Xayah every single game these days, you definitely can. And she still has all the tools necessary to enable you to carry your solo queue games from the ADC position. Well, you know, especially ADC players are notoriously complaining about their role and that they would have no agency in the game. They claim to always get one-shot kills, to not deal enough damage themselves, to get perma-ganked at night in the bot lane, and that every game would be decided by factors beyond their control. But when you have a champion like Lethality Xayah at your command, all these issues are null and void. With this ability-based marksman, you can stand at 1,000+ range and spam your Q and B, which makes it incredibly hard for your enemies to punish you. Your items and runes are carefully selected to make these spells as powerful as possible, so you effectively never have to walk into auto-attack range. Post level 6, you also get access to Xayah's ultimate, which is one of the best disengage spells in the game. It makes you untargetable, which means you completely invalidate dive champions, and you also deal massive damage at the same time. Additionally, you have a lot of agency during the lane phase, since you can single-handedly beat your lane opponents by poking them with your spells. Most marksman champions rely on their support to do this, but Xayah can be very much proactive in lane with her QE combo. You might not be a late game hypercarry, but you are still a self-reliant threat to the enemy during the early, mid and late game, and most importantly for solo queue, you have your own CC and tools for self-peeling. Before I show you exactly how to carry your solo queue games with Lethality Xayah, I will first give you the optimal runes and items, because these are quite straightforward and already show you how Lethality Xayah works in theory. You go for Summon Eerie, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence and Scorch, with Magical Footwear and Biscuit Delivery secondary. Your shards are attack speed and adaptive force, and then armor against the traditional ADC, or magic resist against the bot lane mage. Xayah is a full poke champion with a hit and run playstyle and has no way to trigger Eerie's shielding effect with any of her spells. Intuitively, you then might think that Arcane Comet would be better for Xayah, but there are two reasons why Summon Eerie is always the superior choice. First of all, Arcane Comet is dodgeable, and your Q, which would trigger it, does not CC its target in any way. Therefore, Comet will end up missing a little too often, resulting in lower damage overall. Secondly, Comet's cooldown and the cooldown of your Q are terribly out of sync at all stages of the game, which means Comet will not even trigger every time. Eerie, on the other hand, has no true cooldown, and she will always have returned to you by the time your next Q is ready to cast. So yeah, don't fall into the Comet trap, and instead click the subscribe button and go for Eerie every single game. Mana Flow Band and Biscuits truly enable your spell-based playstyle, providing you with enough resources to never run out of fuel when you spam your abilities. On top of that, the bonus mana from these runes directly feeds into Manamune, which is one of your core items. Transcendence is quite important during mid and late game teamfights, granting you additional spell rotations with its extra ability haste and reset mechanic. AD carries typically should provide consistent damage over longer periods of time, and when you play an ability-based champion, you need enough haste to still be able to do your job. Scorch is crucial for extra lane pressure. The damage might not look like much, but when you spam your Q, it quickly adds up and can accumulate into a massive early game health advantage for you. Magical Footwear is simply one of the best minor runes for AD carries in the game, since the rune effectively accelerates your item build by 300 gold, and gold is a highly important resource for any marksman champion. Speaking of items, your first core item you have to rush every single game is Eclipse. The stat profile is great, it provides you with sustain, and most importantly, its passive damage triggers off your QE combo, adding even more burst and safety to your trading pattern. Unfortunately, it does not come with any additional ability haste, but this is where your next items come into play. You upgrade your magical boots to lucidity boots and complete your Manamune. Quick side note, you naturally want to start stacking your Manamune as early as possible, so make sure you buy Tear of the Goddess on your first base when you are still working towards Eclipse. The amount of raw attack damage on Manamune is really crazy, and Xayah has very strong AD ratios on her spells, so this is a huge benefit. Additionally, the on-spell damage on Manamune is much higher than its on-hit damage, which means an ability-based AD carry naturally gets a lot of value out of this item. And yeah, the item also grants you a huge mana pool to work with, so you are definitely set for the rest of the game. You complete your core build with Cyrilda's Grudge, whose armor penetration is highly valuable, but most importantly, the item provides even more ability haste. On top of that, your Q now slows your target, which means it is very easy to then walk up for an extra auto attack to unlock your Triple Feather Blade Caller for a free snare. These 3 items are absolutely mandatory every single game, but the items you get afterwards are more flexible. Yes, I somewhat ironically call this a lethality Xayah build, despite the fact Eclipse is your only true lethality item so far. However, lethality is extremely strong in combination with percent armor penetration, so feel free to buy more lethality items here for perfect synergy with your last Whisper item and Eclipse. I recommend Youmuu's Ghostblade and Axiom Arc if you need more damage, because these items provide you with all the stats you could possibly need. Lethality, attack damage, and most importantly, ability haste. However, other lethality items like Edge of Night or Serpent's Fang can also be very strong. They might not have any ability haste on them, but their unique passives are invaluable in the right matchups. In some games, however, you will need more defensive items to counter fed enemies, so Morphle Mortius and Guardian Angel can also be competitive choices for you. In this Grandmaster solo queue game, Xayah starts the match with a longsword and 3 health potions. You could also start with Doran's Blade for better all-ins, but Longsword with potions provides you with more sustain, which is better for a bulk champion like Xayah. After all, your game plan is to win the War of Attrition and avoid all-in fights. Unless they are completely free, of course, and your opponents are terribly out of position. Against the Leona Kai'Sa lane, however, you need to be careful with that. All-in fights is what Leona excels in, and Lulu Xayah cannot really match her power here. You have the range advantage though, so make use of it and be careful not to get baited. Anyway, you can play it safe yourself of course, but when your lane partner is careless and gives your opponents a free opening, you will have to fight regardless. The enemy Kai'Sa makes a mistake here however, and tunnel visions onto the stunned Lulu, which makes her an easy target for you. Lulu is the center of attention, so it is actually 100% safe for you to walk up and use your short-ranged auto attacks to get additional feathers down. If given the time to do that, Xayah's all-in damage is actually very strong, because Blade Caller scales with all available feathers without any diminishing returns. Another strength of the champion I have not yet talked about is her amazing wave clear. Thanks to the extra mana from your runes, you can easily shove the wave into the tower after this fight, creating a huge CS advantage for yourself. Okay, so what happens if you are overextended and end up getting caught? Xayah is somewhat weak when enemies are running away from you, because they are then also walking away from your feathers which are stationary on the ground. When the enemy engages, however, the opposite is true. They are directly running into your feathers, giving you a lot of damage. To connect with as many feathers as possible, you can even use your flash for a better angle. Again, you focus the enemy Kai'Sa and ignore Leona, since Kai'Sa is where the opponent's damage is coming from. This, in combination with Lulu's help, allows you to stay alive long enough to take her down, and then clean up the fight against a solo Leona who is quite harmless when by herself. And all of this is pre-level 6, mind you. Once you unlock your ultimate, you are effectively ungankable. Lee Sin tries to 3-man you with his bot lane, but you simply dodge his flash kick setup by pressing a single button. Also remember when I said you are even stronger when people actively run into your feathers? Yeah, with your ultimate you don't even have to auto-attack to get them out. By the time Lee Sin actually gets to play again, your backup is there and he is severely weakened. With Lulu's ultimate, you can even keep walking forward and stay in the middle of the fight. Had you had another support here who is not that good at keeping their ADC alive, you simply walk backwards and are completely fine either way. After this fight, Xayah is able to take down the enemy tower and thereby conclude the lane phase. Now you and your support can rotate towards the mid lane, which allows you to stay quite safe while simultaneously getting valuable damage on the ever so important mid lane tower. When this tower falls, but you get to keep your own, the enemy loses a lot of vision control. Contesting dragons and barons under these circumstances is extremely risky for the opponent, since the center of the map is now just dark for them. Your standard macro play that allows you to abuse this advantage as hard as possible is, of course, push past river, roam. Maximum gold, experience and vision for you, almost nothing for the enemy. Despite their vision disadvantage, Red Team tries to make a play in the jungle here. Blue Team can react instantly though, which means their enemies are just horribly out of position and have to take a very sketchy fight. Of course, the League player instinct kicks in and Red Team fires everything they have against the AD carry. But you are playing Xayah. It doesn't matter what they try to do. You simply press your note button and watch the enemy suffer even more, who just fully committed onto a now untargetable champion. After the dust has settled, you can simply auto-attack and then finish them off with your spells. Most other AD carries would have died instantly in this team fight, but with Xayah you actually get to play the game. No need to hide until the fight is over, since you can in fact participate like any other champion. However, by no means do you have to exclusively use your ultimate for defensive purposes. Its base damage and AD scalings are actually quite high, and with your armor penetration from your items, you can also use this spell to reliably execute low-health targets. Once you have numbers advantage, chances are you won't need it for its stasis effect anyway. Yet, you should still be a little cautious whenever your ult is on cooldown. Without it being ready, you have to position more like a traditional AD carry, since your health and resistances are not really too impressive. Whenever you win a fight, you naturally want to take an objective for free afterwards, and now with an advantage of 2 mid lane towers, the entire jungle belongs to you. Blue Team starts Baron soon after, since it is almost impossible for Red Team to contest at this point. Red Team still contests, but they cannot do so in a coordinated way because they simply lack vision. After Kassadin gets killed, they now even have numbers disadvantage. Blue Team pays with a lot of health though, and ultimately has to retreat from Baron. This is already more than what Red Team could have hoped for, but instead of retreating themselves, they actively engage without their mid lane. Admittedly, this fight was quite close, but Blue Team still comes out ahead with a few extra kills under their belts. While starting Baron and then getting engaged on is always risky, an even fight near the Dragon Pit is, of course, a completely different beast. All of Blue Team are full health, and with no way to take the AD carry out of the fight, Red Team simply has no chance here. Dragon falls after Red Team is forced to back off, but they still end up trying to challenge Blue Team as they rotate towards Baron again. This cannot and did not work out for Red Team here, and after this disaster they just keep falling like dominoes. However, truth be told, they were able to at least postpone Blue Team's Baron once more. Not that it ultimately matters, because after resetting, Blue Team tries to cash in their gold and vision advantage by relentlessly going for Baron again. But they don't want to fully commit without getting numbers advantage first. This play is merely a bait for Red Team. Blue Team's goal here is to provoke Red Team to make a move near Baron so they can get a pick on them. But these back and forth siege strategies are just perfect for Xayah, since you will hit someone with your long range spells eventually, creating a valuable health advantage. This short time frame in which the enemy has to heal in the fountain is enough for Blue Team to destroy the first inhibitor. Oh, and look at this. Lee Sin thinks he can get a fancy outplay on Xayah to bring his team back into the game. But what is a bruiser assassin supposed to do against an untargetable champion? Now Red Team is chunked down even more, and they also lost an ally to Xayah's burst damage. With numbers disadvantage again, they can't do anything but watch as Blue Team attacks their towers. The following fight is just a last-ditch effort, and Red Team has no real chance here. Just a beautiful showcase of how to safely carry your team to victory with lethality Xayah. If you want to learn about another champion with a lot of utility, safety, and playmaking potential, I got you covered with First Strike Senna. You can access a full guide and discover Senna's new sleeper OP item build by clicking the link on your screen right there.
The Best Buy 4th of July sale is happening now.
Has been destroyed.
Great deals are going fast.
hello for the Misfortunate. In order to make good use of Misfortune's biggest strength, which is her item flexibility, I've created a flowchart you can follow in your solo queue games for optimal results. So in this video, you will learn exactly how to use this powerful tool and how you need to adapt your playstyle according to the matchups. I will show you when and how to use each of Misfortune's abilities, give you optimal items and rune tabs for each situation, and demonstrate all of this on the basis of real in-game examples. First things first, you can easily download the flowchart to your computer by following the link in the description and then simply right-clicking the image to save it. Misfortune is not nearly as straightforward a champion as many people believe. While a lot of champions in League of Legends come with unique mechanics and combos you need to master, almost all of them have very linear runes, items and skill orders that require no thinking whatsoever. Misfortune is the exact opposite. She doesn't have any crazy mechanics, flash combos or fancy dashes, but before the game starts, you need to make a true meaningful choice concerning your runes, your items and your skill order. Messing up with Misfortune in-game is quite hard since her kit is very beginner-friendly, but messing up your pre-game setups with this champion is all the easier. Luckily for you, this is merely a decision-making skill and the flowchart already does most of the thinking for you. And once you understand the underlying logic behind the flowchart, using it in your games will become second nature. You see, the flowchart has three possible outcomes. You either end up with W-Max Press the Attack and a crit build, with E-Max Mana Mean Lethality and Arcane Comet, or with E-Max Mana Mean Lethality and Dark Harvest. The first question you might be asking yourself is, where is Q-Max? Isn't that the most popular skill order? Aren't lots of people using Q-Max with Yomu's Ghostblade for a Lethality one-shot build right now? While this statement is true and the build is undeniably effective, it is also never optimal. In lethality builds, a lethality mythic plus Mirror Mana will always deal much more damage than a lethality mythic plus Ghostblade. At the same time, starting the game with Tear of the Goddess allows you to spam E in lane, which also applies much more pressure than any other laning strategy. The reason for this is that Misfortune's E is a brokenly strong spell that is only balanced through its enormous mana cost. By going tier first in your lethality builds and maxing E, you can easily get a lead in lane, and then use your early burst damage with lethality to snowball the game out of control. But Phil, E doesn't even scale with lethality. It deals magic damage. When you max it, you need to buy ability power. This statement is so false on so many levels, but I get enough messages to know that a lot of people hold this misconception, so I will address it here. Yes, E in fact deals magic damage and it scales with AP, while Q deals physical damage and scales with AD. However, the amount of points you put into these abilities doesn't influence their scaling.
Problems are fun. How about this?
No, but this?
No.
What about?
No.
What about this?
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes! Yeah!
Solving them is more fun with Autodesk design and manufacturing software.
An ally has been slain.
Get summer ready at Verizon. All new and existing customers get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. Yep, iPhone 16 Pro on us. Only with Verizon.
At all. There are some spells where this is not the case, such as Raven's Q for example. Raven's Spinning Axe scales with 70, 80, 90, 100 and 110% of your bonus attack damage on ranks 1 to 5 respectively. Therefore, not maxing this spell first on Raven would be outright trolling. Misfortune's Q on the other hand doesn't work like this at all. Here, all you get for leveling up is a lower cooldown, 20 extra base damage per point and increased mana cost. So all you need to do to understand why E-Max is always better on lethality builds is to compare Q's rank up benefits to those of your E-spell. Ranking up E also decreases its cooldown while granting 35 extra base damage per rank up, and most importantly increasing the strength of the slow by 5% with each skill point. Additional slow strength is truly a big deal as it not only guarantees that the enemy stays in the circle for the full duration, but also allows for all sorts of combos and setups. Ironically, maxing E first makes your Q way more dangerous for your enemies, since you now have access to Miss Fortune's EQ combo. By laying down a ranked up E on an enemy in a minion wave, you leave them with two terrible choices. They either aggressively walk forward to get out of the circle fast, which means you can Q plus auto them in the face. This gets even worse for them when you consider that they then also directly walk into the spells of your support. Their other option is to run away, but now all you need to do is to press Q on a caster minion. With enough points in E, the minion will take enough damage from Make It Rain that it gets executed by Q, and then the enemy will get hit by a Q crit, which they cannot avoid due to E's slow. Additionally, by maxing E first, you also set up the enemy to get caught by all sorts of skill shots. This includes the ganking jungler, but also poke spells from your support, and most importantly, your ultimate. Okay, but according to the flowchart, we don't have any mana sustain when we go for the crit here, so E-max is off the table. But why don't we max Q here? Isn't it still a lot of pressure in lane? This is an excellent question, and in fact, Q does provide lots of lane pressure. For that reason, we are pseudo-maxing Q when we play crit. That is, we put a point into Q on levels 2, 3 and 5, so we get maximum burst damage in lane for our all-ins. Then we proceed to max W by level 10, so we get optimal sustained damage with our crit items, and of course the synergies with our shields from Bloodburster and Overheal. In case you don't know about this obscure mechanic, Miss Fortune's W movement speed passive can never be lost as long as you are shielded, even if you get hit by an enemy. This is obviously an extremely powerful buff to your kiting and chasing potential. Now before I show you how these builds and playstyles work in detail and how you actually need to play them, you must know the exact reasoning behind each of the three build choices. Knowing this is important for your in-game decision making, but fortunately the explanation is quite simple. The choice between W max all-in and E max poke really boils down to one of the core principles of playing bot lane. Have you ever asked yourself why combos like Caitlyn and Morgana, Alistar and Samira, or Draven and Pyke are so extremely oppressive to play against? The reason is that these bot lane duos greatly amplify each other's strengths. Caitlyn and Morgana, for example, are both poke-based with long-range skill shots that can perfectly combo into each other. Alistar and Samira, on the other hand, are both 100% all-in base and can kill their lane opponents from full health with one good engage. You get the idea. Anyway, this is exactly what this flowchart is accomplishing too. You play Miss Fortune and your support picks Nautilus? Great! Now you can take the hyper-aggressive press to attack rotate and capitalize on each hit by going all in right away. In another game, you get a support player who wants to kill Zera. Awesome! Now you just spam your E in combination with all of the poke runes while also setting up Zera's skill shots at the same time. You simply poke the enemy out of lane, effectively not allowing them to even play the game. The result is a big gold and level advantage for both you and your support, and then you simply snowball the game out of control from there.